I would like to welcome Kenya. Kenya, will you start by sharing your story?
Sure. Okay. Well, so I remember being 19 years old, my second year in college, and I learned that I was pregnant after a quick fling, college flings happen. I learned that he had a girlfriend, and he was the son of a prominent preacher in our area. So I knew that abortion was an option for him as well as me. So I did it, no regrets. Fast forward, I'm 24, I found out I'm pregnant, and I was not ready to be a parent. I went to my parents. I told them that I needed money to have an abortion, and they're Catholic. They were like, "No, you're old enough. We can support you. It'll be fine. You can do this." And I'm like, "No, I don't know him well enough to become a parent with him." But I decided to go ahead and keep my daughter, and it was against my better judgment, but I did. And I was worried about the stigma surrounding Black single women and having children and child after child. So on her first birthday, I found out I was pregnant again. And immediately I thought about how I felt I was already a statistic, being a single parent and Black. So I knew I was going to have another abortion, and so I did. I was also thinking about how terrified I was of delivering, and I didn't want to go through that traumatic experience again. So, yeah, I did it again. Then time went on, 39, I feel like I'm more responsible, making some good choices. I ended up getting pregnant, and I knew immediately I was going to have an abortion. Went to my trusted abortion provider who also delivered my daughter. So, we do have a relationship there. I trust him with my life. I was sitting in the lobby and I got deathly ill. I was like, I'm in so much pain, something's wrong. I couldn't complete my forms. I go up to the front desk and I'm like, hey, something's wrong. I'm in a lot of pain. I can barely project my voice. My skin is clammy. I feel like the room is going dark. So they rush me back. They do an ultrasound and they see that there's fluid in my uterus, so something is wrong, but they don't see the pregnancy. So one of the nurses that was very comforting to me, really compassionate, empathetic, and just I just really appreciated her being there that day. And she told me, I'm just going to make a call for you to go ahead and go to the emergency room because I think you are rupturing one of your fallopian tubes, and that's life-threatening. So I'm afraid. I get in my car, go immediately to the emergency room. It is beyond packed that day. I'm there like all day, even though I gave them a letter saying, from the clinic that I was at, that's what's going on. They still kept me there for about 8 hours before they even did the ultrasound. So they did the ultrasound, put me to a room, and they said 3 doctors came in, rushed in, and they're like, you ruptured your fallopian tube. You are bleeding internally. We have to take you to emergency surgery right now. Everything just went so fast. I woke up in recovery. Everything was fine. And all I could think about was they saved my life. My abortion care provider saved my life. Had I not gone to the clinic that day, I don't know if I would have went to the doctor. I don't know if I would have went to the emergency room on my own. So for that day, it became so much more than just abortion for me. In that moment, I knew abortion was healthcare. And because I had a relationship with the doctor and I love his wife, who's a nurse practitioner, they provide my OB-GYN care as well. I remember not working at the time and going to see her for my follow-up visit. And I couldn't even pay for the visit. And she's like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. And that moment I was like, okay, well, maybe I can ask for a job because I would love to work at the abortion clinic. And she asked me what I could do, and I told her. She sent me over to the clinic. Long story short, they gave me a job. Yeah. And they brought me in and they introduced me to the staff. Everybody remembered me from that day. I saw the nurse who I connected with that day that sent me to the emergency room, and I got so overwhelmed. And, we hugged it out. And even now, 2.5 years later, almost 3 years after being at the clinic, when I see her, we still hug every day. There's like this real closeness between us. And I just knew that I wanted to be able to deliver that same kind of compassionate care to patients, and that if they are going through the same thing, that they trust the provider and act with a sense of urgency, because what if I had not? So that was the most impactful thing about me wanting to do this work is, being able to say that, abortion care providers saved my life, and now I get to provide that same compassionate care.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story and being with us. I appreciate it.